First thing I need y'all to do before we even get into this video is mash that subscribe button. We trying to get to 1,000, baby. Join the family. Tell a friend. Tell your friends. Tell your friend. Let's go. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Welcome to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me. Before we get into this dope interview, I got a dope interview this week with my guy, Jeff Lightsy Jr., sports radio host, content creator, sports reporter, doing a little bit of everything. He does an exceptional job covering Colorado Insider, covered Coach Prime, Shador, as well as Travis Hunter and those guys at the FCS level with Jackson State, covering Louisville. He's doing a lot of things. So we got him on the podcast this week to give us a preview of that Colorado-Nebraska game, a little recap of last week, and all the things we need to know Coach Prime about how he's setting the college football world on fire, man. And it's just crazy. 7 million views, first game, kickoff against the national runner-ups, TCU. They put it on them. Got him up out of here as a 21-point dog. They was disrespectful. But I digress. So, looking at it, now they have Nebraska. They're facing against Matt Rule. As a Carolina Panthers fan, I am familiar with his shenanigans. And it seems like he's been throwing shots on Twitter at Deion for some time now. And now they match up. And it seems like this one could get a little chippy. So I'm excited to see, one, if they can follow up this encore performance. But two, I'm ready to see Colorado in that home opener, how rocky that stadium is going to be. I know it's going to be crazy for game one in Boulder. Prime is the talk of the town. He's got ticket sales up. He's got merch sales up. He's got people talking about Colorado football for the first time since I don't know when. It's an exciting time to be a Buffalo. And we're seeing how his I guess you would say, infrastructure, his game plan for building a roster completely flipped this team. 80-something new players. People were wondering, is this the new blueprint to build a college football program? We talk NIL, we talk transfer portal, and how it's kicking Clemson's behind right now because Dabo Swinney's stuck in his ways. So it's interesting to see how Deion's going about it, being a player coach and just recruiting his tail off. I just had to get that off my chest, y'all. I just had to, because we're seeing so much disrespect to Deion, HBCU football. We cannot stand for it. Those people calling Jackson State a JUCO. Get out of here. Anyways, with no further ado, let's get into this interview with my guy, Jeff Lightsy Jr. on Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
Timing to make sure his guys are prepared. So that's the one thing I've noticed from covering him both at Jackson State now, watching what he's doing in Colorado, is that his teams are always prepared and they always go out there and execute at a high level. And it's followed them from the FCS level to the FBS level. And those coaches, those players, they go out there and they play all out for him.
No, most definitely. And we're seeing, like, with him just kind of changing the structure with two things that are crucial in college right now, the NIL and the transfer portal. People were really reluctant, I think, with this new roster coming in about how successful they would be early on. What were your thoughts on the complete roster flip and their performance at TCU? I mean, they were a 21-point underdog.
No, man. So preseason, I said Colorado, the win total over, if you're a betting man, was 3.5. I was like, yeah, they're going to beat that. I thought, I didn't think it'd be by much. I predicted they'd go 6-6 this year. That's simply because in 1 year, I don't think you can completely get a high-level football team. That's not to say you can't get a good football team or a football team that's competent and go out there and pull off upsets. You see upsets all the time. That's what college football is about. But I didn't think you could have, and I still don't think you can have one of the top programs in the country in 1 year.
Right.
Now, after year 2, I think things may be different. But in 1 year, it was going to take some time. To see them go out there and perform the way they did against TCU, I wasn't that surprised. Even though they were 21-point dog, I thought that was way too much. I think people were putting too much stock into the TCU of last year and not the TCU of this year, and they weren't putting enough stock in players like Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Now they know. Now they know.
Man, and do you feel like they're doing anything different than what they were doing in Jackson State? I mean, I heard Shedeur say pretty much, other than the D lineman getting off of blocks faster when you're trying to move up in the pocket and scramble, like it was pretty much the same as the FCS.
Oh, Shadeur's a pro. I mean, Shadeur's been a pro. If you've watched him the last 2 years, it was like, oh, this guy is going to play in the NFL. To me, it was all about how high he would go. I thought by the end of last year, he had proven himself to be a first-round pick, right? Probably a later first-round pick, simply because he was coming from the FCS, but a first-round pick nonetheless. Now, this year, I said this move to Colorado, the whole thing was about improving his draft stock, giving him a chance to be, I thought, just a top pick. Now we're talking about the number 1 overall pick, not necessarily this year, because, Caleb Williams kind of got that locked up. But if he decides to stay for his senior year, Shedeur Sanders would be in the conversation for the number 1 overall pick. If he decides to come out after this year, if he continues to play the way that he played in the first game, I've already seen mock drafts that have him going to top 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, that was the thing about Shedeur. It was just about how high he can raise that stock. Now, Travis is different. I mean, you know a guy when you see a guy. Yeah, he's a guy.
What was your reaction, man, when you saw the nation get introduced to him, people that didn't know who he was?
Man, the thing is, the people that watch Jackson and little kids all knew Travis was going to do what he did on Saturday, because Travis is one of the most watched kids on YouTube from his high school highlights. He was the number 1 overall recruit coming out when he was in high school for a reason. And then if you watch, he only played in 6 games at Jackson. He was hurt. It was just about whether he can bulk up, stay healthy, and then he's going to put on the show. He's just that special of an athlete. He's that special of a player. And so seeing what he did out there now, playing majority of both sides of the ball, I didn't even think he was going to do that.
Right.
But the actual performance, the play, his skill level, his play, his athleticism, yeah, I expected that 100%.
Is the Heisman talk warranted? I feel like he could be one of the first non-position players, non-quarterbacks since Devontae Smith, maybe, to get that award. If not this year, maybe next year.
It's tough. It's going to be tough, because if my prediction of them only winning 6 or 7 games comes true, they're not going to give the Heisman Trophy to a guy, though. If they win 8 or 9 games, which is very likely, which is now on the board. When you get that first upset win, week 1 against a ranked team, and now you're ranked, 8 or 9 wins is now on the board. If they do that, Shedeur and Travis will have to have Heisman-type seasons, and so you have to put it on the board. Because nobody else in the country is going to do what Travis is able to do. Lord willing, knock on wood, he stays healthy. Nobody is going to do what he does. There's just not another player out there that can do what he does. Now, Caleb Williams is a monster of his own.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if Travis and Shedeur lead Colorado with Coach Prime, lead Colorado to 8, 9 wins, one of them will take home the Heisman. One of them. I don't know which one, but one of them will.
Where do you rank Shedeur right now with the Pac-12 and all those quarterbacks? I personally think he's behind Caleb Williams at number 2, but what are your thoughts? I mean, I know it's top to bottom, man. The quarterback is crazy.
It's some good guys. You got Caleb Williams, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, DJU. He was a 5-star guy. All of those guys are really good. The only one better than him is Caleb. The only one better than Shedeur is Caleb, and it's just because Shedeur sees the field so well. His accuracy is great. And this is, people forget this is his first year under Sean Lewis offense. Now, all those other guys played for their coaches for multiple years, played in those systems for multiple years. Well, besides DJU, he's a first-year guy. But if Shedeur, I just think, like I said, off pure talent, off skill level, off what he's able to do, he's not the most athletic like some of these more recent NFL quarterbacks, but he's got the arm strength, the accuracy, the pinpoint accuracy, putting the ball where it needs to be, and the leadership. Leadership is key. Never gets too high, never gets too low. The dude is the same way, whether he throws the game-winning touchdown or whether he just had the game-sealing interception. Dude is the same way no matter what, and that's going to take him a long way. That's why I think he's the second-best quarterback to play to him.
What do you want to see from them in those 2 matchups, Oregon and USC back-to-back? What are you looking for in those games?
Got to be competitive. Got to be competitive. I don't think they'll win either one of those games. Once again, we're talking about a guy who predicted them to go 6-6 before the season. Now, to some people, they thought I was giving them too much credit. Some people felt like I was slighting them. Just depending on how you feel about it. I just think you got to be competitive, man. I don't think you have to go out there and if you win. If they win, either one. Oh my God, if they win. What? You know what a circus that'll be?
All
That'll
week
be
long,
nuts.
too.
Man, yeah, on every channel, every station, you're going to see Dion on Pat McAfee and on Get Up and on First Take. You're going to see him everywhere. Undisputed, just like you did after week 1. If they mess around and win one of those games, it'll be crazy. But I don't think they will. I think that, but if as long as they can be competitive, and it'll really, this season, really, it's just a feeler out season to me. It's really like whether Dion and the team admits it or not, this is just a filler out season. Because 1, the Pac-12 is loaded, and 2, it's their first year all together. Next year, with that move to the Big 12, using the momentum that they can have from this season, like an upset win over TCU, if they're able to beat up on Nebraska and possibly upset one of those ranked Pac-12 teams, you use this season to launch you into next season, that first year in the Big 12, and then another recruiting class from Prime. You got to forget the man's the best recruiter in the country, I think. He said it. He said it was in Jackson State. He's definitely that now.
He ain't hard to find.
So, not at all. And so with that, I think you could catapult yourself into a top 5 team in a national championship contention for next year. This year's still the filler out season. They're going to take some losses, probably to teams people aren't ready for them to lose to this year. But next year, that move to the Big 12, which isn't as loaded, which is very much offensive friendly. You see what they did to TCU. That's Big 12. That's how the Big 12 teams play.
Mm-hmm.
That is when things are going to get spooky for the entire country.
Yeah, you mentioned Coach Prime, and we're seeing him everywhere on every show. They had the big noon game coming in. I think it was like the top ranked, most viewed game of
7
the day.
million. Yeah, over 7 million.
What do you think that Coach Prime is the most criticized coach right now under this spotlight?
Well, possibly. I don't know. I don't think right now you can say that. After that week 1, he's probably the most praised coach. But when you have an unorthodox style, people are gonna feel a certain kind of way. You know what I mean? Like when you embrace your players playing both ways, when you embrace different things, you embrace the transfer portal the way he did, openly and honestly about it. People are gonna feel, old heads, people that are used to, back in my day type of people, get off my grass type of people, they're gonna feel some kind of way. But the man does it the way he did it. That's what got him loved and praised as a player. That's what got him loved and praised as a broadcaster. That's what got him loved and praised as a head coach of Jackson State. And now he's just doing the same thing. And instead of, maybe 1 million or 1.5 million or 2 million people that were watching him in games at JSU, talking about the most watched game on Saturday at over 7 million, Fox's largest big noon kickoff game ever. You know what I mean? Like those are the things that he's doing now. And now people are like, whoa, like this dude actually knows what he's doing as a head coach. It's not just an experiment. This is actually producing real results.
I know it was some hurt feelings when he left Jackson State. Do you think his style overall, his impact, is it helping programs in the end?
Yeah. No, the thing about JSU, it wasn't that. It's just, and I've said this on my platform multiple times. They weren't hurt that he left. It wasn't that. It was the words that were being used and the verbiage that was being used towards them, their program, on his way out the door. That's what hurt people's feeling. It wasn't necessarily they knew Deion wasn't gonna stay there forever. Like, come on, bro. Like they're not. Them people ain't stupid. Like they understood this was a limited window and they enjoyed the heck out of it while he was there. But at the same time, it was some of the misinformation that was being put out there, or people that are connected to him that were saying things that just flat out weren't true. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like he was coming out and dispelling them and saying, no, that's not true. No, I'm being misquoted. No. He kind of fueled it a little bit, and it almost made you think like, yo, who are they getting this information from? Well, it had to be him. You know what I'm saying? So like, we're in this thing. So it's like, yo, leaks don't happen on accident. When leaks happen, somebody wants it to get out. And so that was the whole, hurt feelings behind the people at JSU. As far as his style, no, it impacts. You see what's happening in Colorado right now. Colorado merch is the hottest thing. Colorado as a program is the hottest thing. They're the most trending team in the country. This is a team that went 1-11. This is a team that's had one winning season in 20 years. And now they're the hottest brand in college football. Hotter
Right.
than Alabama, hotter than Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that is all. That's not because of Rick, the AD, or because they're just this prestigious program. It's because Deion Sanders, their head coach, and he was able to bring his guys, Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders, and the other 90 players that he brought in from the portal.
And we saw just ESPN. We saw Jackson State play. Florida. They played a really good Florida A&M team. Looking at the state that they're in now, 1-1, new coach, it seems like there's still a lot of excitement around that program, even though Deion's not there.
No, the JSU fans love JSU. That's one thing about Jackson State fans. They travel like crazy, and they love the heck out of the program. That don't matter if it's Deion Sanders, the head coach, or a hometown guy like TC Taylor. They're going to always love JSU. They're going to always lead the FCS in attendance every single year. Look it up. They lead the FCS in attendance before prime. They're going to lead it post-prime. They have a stadium that seats 60,000, and they're going to live their program. They're going through a transition, and so obviously, that takes time. You have a coaching change, you have a transition, but best believe their fans, their supporters, their people online, they're going to always support I love Jackson State.
Most definitely, man. It kind of tripped me out the way like they was talking about HBCU football, comparing it to a JUCO. I think it was like that Utah sports podcast I saw, which was disrespectful, man. For one, too, I cover FCS in North Dakota, so North Dakota still like FCS and HBCU football, same, those level of teams where you're talking about North Carolina Central, Florida A&M, and those guys. Like, it's disrespectful. It's a lot of talent, South Carolina State, a lot of talent coming from those programs, man. What was your initial reaction when you were hearing that talk? Especially a lot of it, I think, coming from people that probably weren't familiar with the level of talent.
Man, that's blatant ignorance. You know what I mean? Like, this is blatant ignorance. Like, Deion Sanders, he didn't start coaching when he got to Colorado. He started coaching at Jackson State as a head coach, right? And so therefore, if you're going to talk about Prime, you're going to talk about how great of a coach he is, or even if you want to talk about how bad he is, or whatever, you have to know that he came to Colorado from. He didn't just fall out of the sky in Colorado. So that's just blatant disrespect, blatant ignorance. Just trying to, how it can be in America sometimes with the black man, the black HBCUs, and some of those people that represent the black man. All right. And that's why they say the things they say, and they do things blatantly ignorant. And that's why, some of the people just, put it back on Deion, him allowing some of that foolishness to be put out there about HBCUs and about Jackson State specifically. That is what hurt the people, not necessarily him leaving, because you know how America can treat black people, black men. Right. And so for you to let some of those lies run wild, that's what hurt the people, not necessarily him leaving. But those dudes from Utah, they was blatantly ignorant, knowing Jackson State ain't no freaking JUCO. He's got 4 Pro Football Hall of Famers, more than Utah. So let's put some respect on their name.
Hey, the best quarterback, I said they got Alex Smith, but Shador looking like he might outdo that. So, man, they might have another one up on them. A big game for them coming up this week, man. It seemed like Matt Rule, familiar with him being a Carolina Panthers fan, man, very familiar with his shenanigans. Seems like he's been throwing a little shade to Deion's way, man, talking about the program. Basically, if you don't want your coach all in the videos, come to Nebraska. What are you expecting in this matchup? I mean, honestly, there's not a lot of excitement around Nebraska. They're not expected to be very good this year. They got players still in vapes. There's a lot going on over there. Well, what are your initial thoughts for this game, man? How it will go?
Well, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Colorado is the favorite now after their performance in week 1, but they're still a new team. They're still a gelling team. They're still a team trying to figure things out. And so with Nebraska, they had a very disappointing week 1. So, the momentum that they did have, it kind of got deflated by the way that they played in their first game. But one thing they showed in their first game is they can play some defense. Looks like their defense is legit. And Colorado's offense is legit. So it'll be good on good. Nebraska's offense looked putrid. Colorado's defense at times looked pretty rough. And so it'll be, two mediocre units, Colorado's defense, Nebraska offense, versus 2 very high-level units, at least based off week 1, Colorado's offense versus Nebraska defense. So it's going to be interesting. I do think Colorado will be able to pull it out and go 2-0. and continue this thing, this primetime momentum that they got going on right now.
Absolutely. Jeff, I know you got to get to it, man. Big ACC action tonight in Louisville. Bobby Petrino and those guys getting active. As far
It's the
as
Jeff Brom show now, man.
Jeff Brom, that's
yeah,
right.
Jeff Brom.
That's
yes,
right,
sir.
Jeff Brom.
Yes, sir.
I forgot his old quarterback, right? He played there, didn't
Yes,
he?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's right. That's right. My bad. No disrespect, Card Nation. Y'all have my guy L. Ellis down there hooping last year, so no disrespect, guys. But it's looking a lot different this year. But Jeff, man, I appreciate you being on. Let them know where to follow you at on social media so they can keep up with your content.
Yeah, man, it's Jeff Lightsy Jr. on social media is at JLightsy7. It's at JLIGHTSY, the number 7. You can find me everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you find content, you'll find me. Facebook. So it's easy. Tap in. We have a good time, man.
Absolutely. Definitely give my guy a follow. He's doing some big things. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview, man. Lots of good nuggets in there. Make sure y'all go give my guy a follow and make sure to hit that subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest. This is Live with Brandon Blakeney. I am Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Until next time, hey, we out.